What is up? So, I um I made a post a few moments ago and I said, "No one cares that your price is going up. Just do your thing. Just do your thing." And I'm here knocking out some stuff. I'm working, but I did want to have a conversation about this because I know in this small business realm, I know it's really easy for us to think that people are paying attention to our prices. And the reality is that they're not. Like, people aren't paying um, a ton of attention to your prices. People aren't looking at your offerings and saying, "Oh, well, man, they used to be." If anything, I'll tell you this, and this is just through experience. If you're in business long enough, people just presume that your prices are higher. It's weird. And even when they say that, it's like, well, higher than what? All right. Like, many people didn't know what your prices were before. So higher than what? So it doesn't serve you to pay attention to how much attention you get from other people observing your prices. The reason I'm even making this post, and the reason why I wrote that earlier, is because, like, I'm seeing with the new year, I'm seeing so many people with this false, inflated self perception of their business, and it's like, yesterday's price isn't today's price. The price has gone up, and it's like, why do you even have to say that? Like, why do you have to take the time to say that? Like, if you have the time to say that, that's the problem. If you have the time to tell people that your prices have gone up, that's the problem, right? Just take this time and share value. And what's going to happen is, over time, people are going to be like, man, the value that's being shared is way higher. I swear, I don't know what it is about me sneezing on videos. I'm always sneezing on videos. Always sneezing on videos. It's ridiculous. But over time in your business, your value is going to start going up, and people are going to say, man, your prices must have gone up. Now, here's an interesting, I wish I could draw this out for you. Here's an interesting fact, right? There's actually many instances where your business can generate more if you charge less for certain things, right? So I do want to make this point. Where's my cable? Could have sworn I had my cable somewhere around here. So, in business, it's really important to know that business is an exchange, right? It's important to know that business is an exchange. So I want to draw something for you guys. Let me see if I can make this work. Hold on. And I don't know how this is gonna go, but I don't care. I don't care. Let me see, templates. Let me do templates blank. Okay, so let me see if I can make sense of this, right? All right. So let me see if this is working. Yes, it's working. All right. So this is what I used to do years ago, right? This is what I used to do. I used to do just web design and marketing, right? And each customer, like, let's say this is a customer, I would find customers that would want to spend between 3 to 5K. And I would try to find a few of these customers, right? And I would spend almost a month working with them on building out a website, gathering assets, putting together content, connecting pages, doing all this stuff. And when I started to add everything up, I would look at this 1 month that I spent and I would say, man, all right, so I spent probably a total of, let's say 30 hours, right? And mind you, these hours add up quick. Like between meetings and doing the work, doing research, sending, even if you're sending invoices, like it adds up. All right. So let's just say 30 hours. Let's just say it's on the low end, right? 3,000 divided by 30. We're at $100. We're at $100 an hour, right? So as a business owner, you would say, well, man, that's actually pretty good. And it's not bad. It's not bad. This is freelancing, right? But $100 an hour is not really, like, that's you putting in work, right? Now, this is charging, 3K to 5K, not too bad for 30 hours worth of work, right? But here's the thing, right? If I'm spending 30 hours over a period of time to make that, how many of these do you think I can land? How many of these can I land? Let's say within a month. If I'm doing within a month, if I have, let's say 120 hours to work, divided by the 30, I can only have about 4 clients. So 4 clients times 3, that's about that's about 12K a month. That's my cap. I can't make more than that. Like, I'm making 12K a month, right? And I'm putting in full-time work. Right? So again, 120 hours within the span of a month divided by 30, that is, I'm doing this math right? Yeah, about 4 to 5 clients. I could get a little bit more than that, right? I could squeeze in a little bit more. But again, this is me working all the time to make 12K, right? In today's market, that's not even a lot, right? Now, versus instead of charging, up here doing web design, whatever. Now, instead, let's say it is web design software. And mind you, there's a number of different ways I could skin this, right? I'm just putting stuff out here. Let's say coaching, courses, and digital products, right? So instead of charging people 3 to 5K, let's say, and I'm just trying to keep the format consistent here. Let's say a customer comes along and they're okay spending $300 on a product that can bring them this a relatively, some value, right? I'm not even going to measure the value right now. I just want to showcase capacity, right? So again, up here, I'm over here like, man, I really want to make 3K to 5K on a project, and I'm willing to spend 2, 3, 4 weeks doing it, right? Or longer, right? This is my pop. Period of performance, right? So a month to make 3K and whatever, right? So come down here, $300, and mind you, this is me, that I created something, and they're purchasing $300. They're purchasing it for $300, right? Let's say on a on a daily basis, let's say I move 2 of these, right? I wake up in the morning. Let's say I wake up in the morning and I'm creating content. I'm making videos. I'm going out there and I'm doing my thing, and I'm getting people to say, hey, like, wow, like that's valuable. Let's say I go out and I say, hey, every course that I have, you have a 30-day money back guarantee, or you could even hit me up and say, hey, Mike, like, I have some questions. I have this. Mind you, I put out whatever I need to break down that barrier for people to say, hey, like, you know what? It doesn't seem like a risk to buy this thing, right? Let's say I move 2 of these a day. times 30 days times 30 days a month, right? You know what? Let's just do 20. Let's just do 20 just so I can make the numbers somewhat even. Somewhat even, right? $600 a day times 20 days. That's not even a full month. That's my 12,000 right there. That's my 12,000 right there. Now, these two clients every day, that may be a couple hours. That may be 1 or 2 hours of me creating content, putting stuff out there, running automated email campaigns, and telling people, hey, this is a no risk opportunity to work with me. Which model do you think has the most upside for you? Which model has the most upside for you? I mean, I love model number 2. Let me scratch off web design because I'll tell you now, web design is tough. Web design is not an easy, that is not an easy business. Like if you think that's an easy business, you are wrong, okay? You are dead wrong. Web design is not an easy business. It's a very challenging business, and primarily because you have to balance envisioning what something should look like, how it should operate, capabilities that it has, and then you have to pair that with their expectations. I can't tell you how many times I used to start on a web design project, and I would be like, man, like the type of business you have, you need it to look like this, and they're like, well, I want it to look like that, and I'm like, but they're broke. So why would you want your website to look like theirs? Like they're not making it, like they're not making anything from the website. It's not generating any leads. It's not doing anything. And I'm like, no, you need this. And then all of a sudden, I'm just a shitty web designer because I didn't give them exactly what they wanted, right? Web design is not the easiest business. I commend anybody that's a web designer. I mean, I still design websites, but I do websites if I have the autonomy to use it as an asset to generate money, generate revenue for them. That's the only time I'll use it. If it's not to generate revenue, yeah, no. No, sir, I am not doing it. So again, I'm going back to my point around like this whole increasing your prices, right? Now, here's the other thing too, right? Let's say you do design websites. Or you do some of these projects, and you used to charge $3K. It used to take you 30 hours. Right? If you were to, now let's say you were to say, hey, you know what? Instead of making $3K, I'd like to make $2K, but I want to spend only 10 hours. So you're minimizing the amount of time that you're spending on a particular project, and you're making your exchange here is less, right? What would you say is a better deal? 30 hours for 3K or 10 hours for 2K? Or what's a better deal to you, right? This one, you lowered your output, but you increased your overall relative revenue. So again, for this one, I'm making $200 an hour because I reduced what their deliverables are. This one, I'm making a little bit more, but I have to give up more time. Now, what's one of the, like, if you were to speak to anyone, what's the one thing they always tell you never get back? What's the one thing they always tell you never get back? You never get back your time. So when you're doing creative work, like when you are a creative and you come along and you're like, well, what type of exchange do I want to have? it's important for you to look at these numbers and say, does it make sense for me to sit here and try to charge people more? Or does it make sense for me to create some levers where I can create some level of scale, ramp up my capacity in my business, and not have to give up so much to make? You know, it's I don't want to say it's just a math thing, but it's an exchange thing. It's an exchange thing. On both sides of this equation, you're giving up something. You're giving up time, you're giving up energy, and you're also giving up the opportunity cost associated with revenue you could have generated outside of doing these projects, you know? So again, I would choose this one all day. I would choose this one all day. The problem though is when people are, and I'm just going to call this services. The problem though is people are looking at this number here and they think that progress in their business is this number increasing. So yeah, my prices went up. Yeah, your prices went up. Your expectations also went up. Your deliverables also went up. The amount of experience that you have in providing that offering, yes, it's going to factor into how much you can charge, but it better always be good. It better always be good. I mean, look at some companies that we know of, right? And again, the market dictates prices as well. Apple's products are starting to decrease in price. They realized that there was a market that they needed to penetrate, and they found different ways to optimize the production of their iPhones and all of the other devices. And they said, hey, let's lean into that, that marketplace. You have other devices. I mean, you got MacBooks, you got cameras, you got all types of stuff. Software. Look at software. I mean, in the past, some of the software, the very software that I'm using used to be $100-something a month. Now it's not. Right. So, I mean, these companies aren't looking at sitting here and scaling by charging people more. No, you don't always have to be charging people more. If anything, there's going to be this weird inflection point. There's going to be this weird inflection point where, this is going to be price and this is going to be demand, right? This is going to be how many people. And what's going to happen is as your price goes, as your price starts to decrease, your demand starts to increase. And at some point, your price is going to be lower than where your demand should be. And it makes less sense. I'm probably not even drawing this graph right. But either way, at some point, you're going to look at this and say, well, this is a really nice sweet spot. If I'm looking at how many people would buy, at some point, like you'll say, well, my price went above a certain point and my demand fell off. And conversely, my price is dropping and my demand is going up. So when you look at what you can produce, you may be able to make more by charging less. If I'm making sense, I want you to comment in the comments. I don't know if this graph is right. I'm going to delete this just in case, because I already know how my network is. They'd be quick to point out. Even in my status, there's somebody, what's her name? Irina had to correct me and said I spelled "you're" wrong. So I always got somebody correcting me. So let me just delete that before somebody comes in and say, Mike, you got to go back to business school. I ain't got to go back to nothing. So again, like it has to making a lot of sense. Perfect. So your price has to reflect what you're willing to give up and exchange in order to achieve or to solve a particular problem. And this is with everything. And on top of that too, you want to know what else I also find people do a lot outside of just price going up, right? In this example, I brought up digital products and coaching, right? I can't tell you how many people are offering courses without a refund policy. Like they're like, no refunds. And I'm like, how scared are you that people would say that what you're offering them is not worth it and ask for their refund? Do you know how bad your product has to be for people to ask for a refund? I know people that have bought digital products and never even logged into it, including myself. I've bought stuff for, you know, a couple $100, and I felt good buying it, and I knew I had lifetime access to it. But I never even logged in. You know how bad your product has to be for someone to ask for a refund? And then on top of that, because the overhead for digital products isn't even that high, even if somebody did ask for a refund, give it to them. I mean, do you so imagine you have two scenarios, right? Scenario one, you want to sell a product, you want to sell $100 product and no refunds, right? That's just no refunds, right? And because you have no refunds, people see this $100 sale as being extremely risky. Like, well, like what if I buy it and I don't like it? Like, you know what? Let's say out of a week, let's say five people buy. So you make $500, right? This is with your no refund policy. Scenario number two, you have the same product, you're charging $200, full refund policy. Because you have a full refund policy, let's say 20 people purchase. Oops. Hold on. How do I? 20 people purchase, right? And 5 people ask for their money back. 5, right? You know what? No. 10. 10 people. 10 people. Half of the people asked for refunds. So that's a total of 10 people that said, hey, you know what? I don't need a refund. I'll keep it. I like it, right? 10 people stayed. That's $2,000. So which scenario would you want? Would you want it where people feel like there's friction to buy because you want to keep every dime that you make? Or do you want to make people comfortable and say, hey, full refund? I mean, if you do not like this, I will give you a full refund. And you get people in. Mind you, these 10 people that ask for a refund, it's good to know why, right? Like, why did they ask for a refund? Once you get some insight into why they wanted a refund, that's when you have some feedback to make your product better. The other thing that you have when someone asks for a refund is the opportunity to win them and sell them again. I mean, if I were to sell somebody a $200 product, they hit me up and they're like, Mike, this is caca, I want a refund. I would say, hey, thanks for sharing. Two options here. You bought this product because there was some type of value that you wanted to get out of it. So one of two things can happen here. For one, you could either say, hey, you know what? I'm out. Give me my money. Don't ever talk to me again. Or you and I can hop on a call and I can at least get some feedback and I could see whether or not one question or one answer may be able to unlock, unlock the possibilities for you, right? So again, that's my opportunity. If I get on the phone with them and I'm like, and I realize, oh wow, like, so their perception of some things that I'm teaching is this, but it's really that. At the end of our call, they may not want a refund. They may say, you know what? I'll hold on to this for a little bit. I'll hold on to it. And if I wanted to, I could say, hey, seeing that you said you wanted to hold on to it, I'm still going to give you 50%. I'm still going to give you 50% back, just out of good faith. Like, I want you to be fully happy. I'm just going to give you 50% back. So even if I gave 10 people back $100, 10 people, that's still $3,000. But yet you have people out here that don't want to give refunds, right? They only increase. Look, I get it. I understand, but in this new era that we're in now, I mean, Walmart, if you open milk, you could open milk and take it to, you could drink the milk and take it back to Walmart and they'll take it. I remember the days when, like, before I would go return something, I would try to think in my head what type of excuse I had to make in order for them to accept it. I remember those days. Like, I would be like, oh man, like, what am I going to tell this representative? What am I going to tell this representative who's going to start questioning me on why I want a refund for a product? And I remember those days. I hope you understand those days are over. Those days are over. You can buy something from Amazon and it can get to your house. You can look at it, you can open it, you can try. You could straight up be like, "Hey, I want a refund," and you can take it to the local UPS. Once they scan, like, oh, okay, it's in a box, they gave you your money back. Right? Like, the barrier, and the only reason why they did that, the reason why Amazon and all of these other stores are doing that is because they want to reduce the friction to your consumption. If everything is non-returnable or there's some condition around returning stuff, there's a tremendous amount of friction to consuming things. So they break down that barrier so that more people consume. And I'll tell you, in the digital space, when you're in this digital creator economy, you too can have that power to give people a no risk opportunity to consume your offerings. All right. No risk opportunity to consume your offerings. Just make sure what you're creating is worth it. Just make sure what you're creating is worth it. You know, and if it's not, just make sure you improve it over time. You could learn as you earn in this business. You can earn as you learn and you can learn as you earn. Like, you could do both. The majority of the people that are going to consume your stuff, really a lot of people just want community. They want connection. They want content, community, and connection. Like, if you can offer someone that, people pay. People pay. You know, so again, I brought this whole topic up because I'm very much I'm what some of the stuff that people say, and you know what, I don't even, how do I say this? I don't even fault them. I don't even fault folks for that anymore, because I used to say some of that. Like, I used to say some stuff that I like, now I look back and I cringe. I'm like, ugh, like, I used to talk like that? And now I'm looking at things like, yeah, no, this isn't, that's not the business. I mean, most of the people that you probably admire from a revenue generation standpoint, a lot of them are selling things that are not expensive. I mean, think about most of the music artists that we sit here and admire. Years ago, they were selling $12 CDs and making the bulk of their money from, you know, concerts and appearances, right? But again, everything started with the low ticket items, the CDs. You know, they weren't gauging their success off of, like, oh yeah, I filled up certain arenas. No. It was like, well, how many records did we sell? Oh, we sold 10 million. Awesome. You're platinum. You sold 10 million records that cost everyone $15 a piece, right? It wasn't people spending $1,000 on listening to your music. It was consuming it for less than $20. And then you started to get more endorsements doing other things, right? So in business, again, you could do the same thing. So I want to encourage as many people as possible to start to really take their pricing seriously and take their tone and their perception of pricing very seriously. I'm going to be having a follow-on conversation inside of the Organic Sales Academy community. If you're not already a part of it, I would love for you to join. If you are a part of it, first and foremost, I want to thank you for your patience. I'm still loading it with content. But if you're not a part of it, would love to invite you to check it out. It is amplifiedorganic.com. I'm going to drop that into the comments. Let me see where the comments are at. Oh no, I forgot. I'm like streaming to 4 different places here. It's amplifiedorganic.com. amplifiedorganic.com. Let me see if it's going to do the link, because sometimes it doesn't. Okay, there we go. So when you go to Amplified Organic, amplifiedorganic.com, it's as simple as dropping in your email address, and you'll get a link directly to join the community. I'm still borderline, not ready to put up the paywall yet, but it's going up. It's going up. All right. So I really would love for you guys to join in on the conversation. It's going to be good. All right. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff, sales, marketing, business development, leads, software. Oh, by the way, too, if you are a service-based business, I'd love to give you access to a software. It's a CRM, email marketing platform, text message marketing platform. It does reputation management. It does a lot to help service-based businesses with automating certain things from a sales and marketing standpoint. I'd love to give you access so that you can give me feedback. All right, that's you doing me a huge favor. This software typically costs some businesses $400 to $500 a month, and just like this entire conversation, I'm offering it for less than $100. All right, so I'm not looking for anybody to pay before they try. So you're gonna be able to try before you buy, but I'd love to get your feedback. All right, so if you know anyone who is a creative, a landscaper, they provide certain services. They get clients. They don't just get customers, they get clients. Typically require some type of nurturing. Let me know. I'd love to share access to the software so they can check it out. All right, so again, join the community, amplifiedorganic.com. amplifiedorganic.com. It'll lead you directly to the community. Hope to see you in there. All right, so if you want to tune into more of this stuff, hop in. All right, peace.